You were all very keen. I was a little bit late, wasn't I? I was watching the King's speech. Queenie is here with us tonight. Are we all well? So, we have a lot going on. Have we got a lot going on? We've got fun things are afoot. I don't know how to sit down with this new higher stand I've got going on here. I feel like I'm going to fall off my stool at any point. So, tonight we are starting the first of our So Yeah Christmas craft collection, these gingerbread houses. I want to say thank you to everybody who has joined the So Yeah social, what are we calling it? So Yeah Christmas Craft Club. It's lovely to have you all here, and it's lovely and very kind of you all to have purchased it and supported me. So basically, between now and Christmas, I've got 4 Christmas designed projects coming up. I will be launching a different one each week. So if you just want to make one of the 4 projects coming up, that's fine. Or if you want to join the club, that's fine too. I want to make it open to everybody. I will be teaching how to make the projects each week between now and Christmas. What are we making tonight? We are making our gingerbread houses. People are asking which one we are going to start with. This is a very good question. I am just going to make one on this workshop over the next 3 weeks. I'm going to see how we get on. It doesn't take 3 weeks to make, but we've only got like an hour each week. So I can't decide which one to make. I also don't have... We're going to have to choose a colour of felt as well, because we don't necessarily have we haven't got these coloured felts, we've got different coloured felts. But for those of you who have either purchased the Gingerbread Village as an individual project, or have joined the Christmas Craft Club and got your download, then this is what you get. So you will get your set of 4 downloads, and I think, Trish, you maybe be able to help me with this. I think I've worked out that the templates fit both on A4 and US letter size paper, so there's only one set of templates. That's okay. That's good. I feel that's good. I feel I've achieved something there. And then you get your lovely instructions. And then your step-by-step and some stitch help. And then your stitch guides, which are super useful. So I think I know that the church, I'm going to do the log cabin. I'm going to do the log cabin. It's just a fact. I'm just going to do the log cabin, people. I'm sorry. I know the church is also an interesting choice. I might do a mini church. We'll see how we get on. Maybe we'll do a mini church later. So the log cabin is a good one. It's very cute. That's one of those. It's one of those projects that I kind of start. I did this one first, and then I did this one that went a bit rogue. Didn't necessarily fit in with the Alpine Village vibe, but because I've done all the work on it, you've got that one in the download as well. So that's kind of like a bonus. And then I did the chapel, which can also be a town hall. And then I got a bit stuck with the third one, but then actually the third one, or to be honest, the third one all came about because my wonderful sister made a version of the pink house, but she did this amazing icing roof with sprinkles on. So that is Joanna's genius idea there. So that's what we're going to do. So it's very Hansel and Gretel. The first thing you need to do is we are going to transfer our pattern. I'm going to take you overhead. These are the colours of felt I've got for the extra house. What do we think? Basically, for this particular project, because I've said the best way of doing this is to embroider it in a hoop, I gave you the SGV files to draw rather than cut out your designs. So basically, if you uploaded this into your Cricut and then clicked on draw instead of cut and used one of your, if you've got these Cricut infusible ink pens, then it would draw this design onto your piece of paper and then you could iron it onto your felt. I think I might just have to see if it's going to work like this. Maybe I just have to hold the iron on the paper longer. So I'm using a Cricut infusible ink pen. I think Clover also make a fine line. Can you see it's really fine line? Which means that when you iron this, basically you're forming a transfer. You're going to iron this onto your felt and it will transfer as a really fine line. So I'm going to quickly, you're not going to be able to see it because I'm doing purple on black. I'm now going to cut out this house. So I'm cutting out quite close to the outline of the house so I can see whereabouts I'm placing it on my felt. Good call, people. So as I was saying, and I've sort of said like a 5-inch embroidery hoop, kind of 13 centimetres, because that way you kind of get the main bit of the house in, or even the main bit of the house in, and then you can kind of move it around to get each section in. And if you're canny, you can kind of fit 2 houses in one piece of felt. So like this. You just need to make sure that it doesn't go so far into the corner that you can't put your hoop in place. So you kind of want to make sure that it's sort of, you've got enough felt as an overhang. So I'm going to go for about here. So I'm going to position it. I'm going to use a small piece of tape to just hold it in place. Mainly I'm doing this because my iron is really small. It would be better if you had a big iron to just do one big iron to kind of iron the whole area in one go. Iron on. I'm going to press it down. 9, 10. I'm going to lift it up and just see if it's transferred, and it has. So I'm just going to keep going. Okay. Shouldn't have over ironed those other bits, but anyway. So now there we go. So there you go, you can see it all there. Brilliant! So now we can put it in the hoop. So you don't want to embroider the outline of your house because that is what you're going to cut away when you sew your house up. So we are just going to embroider some loveliness of decorating in here. So where should we start? So I'm going to start, I think, I changed the design a bit. Anyway, we've gone Nordic, haven't we? So I might use some different stitches to the one that we've actually got in our stitch guide, or is that going to freak everybody out? I think because we've gone Nordic, I feel like we need a candy cane. We need a bit of this on here, on this one. So I'm going to stitch this line across here as a whipped back stitch. So that's going to go full on Christmas. So let's do this. So this is back stitch. This is the first step of one of my very favourite stitches. I'm glad I'm stitching, can you see? I'm stitching white on white, so that's a great start, isn't it? You can see that I haven't started right up at the edge. I haven't started right up at the edge, and I have finished not right up at the edge, because when we cut this project out, we're going to try and cut away this outline so you won't be able to see it. Right, I'm going to finish off. So I have done, this is my last stitch. I'm going to pop my needle underneath that stitch, and I'm going to pull it through until there is a loop left here. Then I'm going to put my needle through that loop and pull tight. And that's going to secure my thread. I'm going to do it again. It's really annoying. So, halfway along the first stitch at the bottom. And then I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to bring it in underneath the stitch from the top. I'm not going through the felt at all. I'm just going through underneath the stitch between the floss and the felt. And then I'm going to keep going. So always coming in from the top to get this candy cane effect. So split stitch, let's see what comes out. So make one stitch, ta-da. There's two ways of doing this split stitch, and you'll find one is more natural to you than another. So there's split back stitch, so I've made this one stitch here, and then I'm going to bring my needle up same distance away again. And then I'm going to put it into the previous stitch, like halfway through the previous stitch, and it kind of splits it, and then I'm going to go upwards and keep doing that. So as you split the thread, it kind of creates a slightly thicker section. There we go, there is a window. Now I'm going to do this other window in the same stitch, but in a different method, because I don't know, you may find it an easier way. And then I can also show you how to split your thread. So this is my floss. I want to divide this into 2 and 4 strands. I have folded it in half, and then I'm going to pinch the end between my thumb and forefinger. I'm going to use my needle to separate out two strands, and then I'm going to gradually pull the other threads away. Ta-da! So there we have 2 strands over there, and then we have this, which looks a mess but is actually okay, which is 4 strands. Right, so let's do this other window. So it's basically the same, but I don't know. So you go out in normal stitch, but then you bring your needle back out from underneath through halfway through the first stitch. I feel this way uses slightly less thread, but it's kind of personal preference. So can you see that I am doing really small stitches at the corners? And obviously bringing my needle through that really small stitch would be really hard. So now I'm going to do now I'm going to do the back stitch version. But then I'm going to go back to doing, it's definitely personal preference which way you do. But I'll just show you on the back how they look different. Right, so let me just show you what those 2 stitches look like on the back. Let me finish off this back as well while we're here. So can you see this one was the one that I just did, bringing the needle up from behind. So it obviously uses less thread. And then this one was the first one we did. Then let's just finish this off. I'm going to do the panes of glass and the little shutters. White shutters and silver glass, hello. Silver glass, I'm doing silver glass, there's a start. No, I'm not, I'm doing gold glass, and then we'll come to the shutters later. So, this is Diamante, this is Diamant. It's yummy. This is Diamant Grande. They are different widths. Can you see? Grande is thicker. They both work nicely on this. The only thing is, if you're going to use the Diamant to sew on your sequins and beads, I don't think the Diamant Grande will work. For these windows, I feel a good way of putting your crosses in for these windows is you kind of want to divide your window up into like squares to get like a good diamond shape. So I think you could get like 3 diagonals in here. I'm going to be honest, I do find myself unpicking my windows quite a bit. So I'm going to go just to make sure that they are equidistant. So I'm doing 3. It might be tempting, and it's totally fine if you do, to do like actual cross stitches. whereas I'm going to do 3 one way and then 3 the other way, because then all your threads, is that right? Then all your threads overlap each other, basically. So once you've got your 3 in place, then you're going to stitch to meet your other, oh my god, I've lost my words. Just watch what I'm doing. And then to hold these stitches in place, you can either use a different coloured thread, which I've done here. This is a nice big window, so it's kind of good for you to see. So you can see that I did my lattice in Diamond, and then I've done little cross stitches across each one in different coloured, and I thought it kind of gave a nice stained glass effect. So I'm just going to hold, and it just holds the thread down in place and stops it bobbling around. So there, fridge is off, and there, and then I don't think I need to do one in the top, so let's do another set over here. I love this stitch. This is a new entry in the Christine Leach's favourite stitches is the trellis stitch. I have a lot of love for it. I feel there is a lot you can do with it. I just haven't. Oh, so I am doing this one completely differently, aren't I? And this is, well, that's fine. Here's another way of doing it. I think that's a good way of doing it for a small window. I think it's quite confusing if you were doing it for a big window like that. So, one good window, one not so good window. The wonderful thing about felt is a wonderful thing. Sorry, started singing the Tigger song there. If, and I'm not, but I don't have time, I could unpick all of this because now my windows don't match, and that's slightly upsetting. But if I unpicked it, you would never know that I had done any sewing there, because the felt kind of is really resilient. When you're doing these kind of quite detailed embroideries, you don't need loads of thread. But I'm going to split this again, so you only need 2 strands for this window. And you also, I should have mentioned this earlier, that you kind of want to use a smaller embroidery needle. Right, so let's see if we can do this again. So I've folded my length in half. I'm going to try and find 2 threads, and I'm going to pull them. Right, so this is a blanket stitch, this little shutter. And I'm going to, where am I going to start? I'm going to start at the bottom. This is one that you might end up picking and unpicking while you kind of get used to how many shutter slats you want in your thing. So first thing you want to do is you want to make a single stitch. And that is going to be the width of your shutter. And then you're going to make another stitch, and you're going to bring your needle out right by the first stitch. And this is, you do this for all blanket stitch, but you only do it on the very first stitch. So bring your needle out, and then you're going to pop it underneath that first stitch that you've made. Can't do this because I'm upside down and back to front. That's weird, isn't it? There we go. Now I feel comfortable. Right, that's strange, isn't it? Okay, so I've done my first stitch, and I'm going to put my needle in and bring it out, and I'm going to loop my thread behind the stitch And then I'm going to pull my needle through. And there we go. That's my sort of first shutter slat? No, sorry. Shutter slat. And then put your needle in, bring it out, put your thread under the needle and pull it through. There we go. So, I'm now going to take you back overhead to say goodnight. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. This is where we got to. We didn't get that far, but hopefully it was helpful. It's lovely to have lots of new people here tonight, and I will see you all next week. Oh, look like this. This is how we do it. Look after yourself, everybody. Give everybody big hugs and kisses. And good night.